Mic check, life check. With Haley Jensen. Hello and welcome back. My name is Haley Jensen, and today we are trying something a little different. Kind of. We've done questions through ChatGPT before, and I definitely did enjoy them. They're really easy for me to respond to. But today, actually, I am streaming on Twitch while I am recording the podcast. So we're kind of juggling a little bit right now. So with that being said, my Twitch viewers, I am here for you guys as well. I will be responding to y'all. But yeah, kind of a fun little concept for the podcast. So first question is, what's one belief that I had 5 years ago that now makes me cringe? So something that I remember from 5 years ago was during the first year of the pandemic or so, and something incredibly stupid that I saw and fell for on TikTok was Kylie Jenner promoting her Sweet Sweat band. Like, she had filmed herself walking on a treadmill, and she purposely wasn't showing the logo, but I think it was like to encourage people to try to figure out, or she truly thought it was working. I don't remember. Anyway, long story short, come to realize that I find out that it's like a Sweet Sweat band, which is basically like this waist trainer. It's supposed to make you sweat more and help you lose weight or whatever. It is absolutely a scam. And it doesn't work. Like, there's no proof for it. I don't know, targeted sweating to help you lose weight or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, but basically it just chokes you while you're trying to work out. And if anything, it gives you better posture, which I do kind of suck at. So with that being said, it's not a bad idea. But overall, completely a scam, but I fell for it. And that was 5 years ago. And so I bought one off of Amazon. I wore it to the gym so religiously, and I really thought I was doing something. And then after I wore it religiously for probably like 2 or 3 months, I started seeing like little Reddit pages and articles just saying that they're completely a scam and a waste of time and did nothing in regards to weight loss or anything. And so that was something that I most definitely, I would say, believed in initially, but extremely cringy. And I actually found it in my closet when I was cleaning just barely. And I was like, ugh, I hate finding stuff like that, for one, because I know that I paid not like a crazy amount of money, but enough where I'm just like, wow, well, my money is gone, but still I feel like I wasted so much money on this stupid thing that I completely fell for. So anyway, the Kardashians definitely fooled me. Kylie did, at least, on that. And so that was something really ridiculous, but it happened. All right, so the next one is, what social rule do you secretly break all the time? Well, I forever and always will be talking to strangers in public, especially when things are awkward. Like, I'm trying. The first thing, I don't know why my brain jumped to this, but like the DMV, right? That's probably most people's least favorite place to be in the world. But for me, I would immediately just start talking to the person next to me. However, I will not talk to people on planes. That is a different level of, I will not interrupt your zen or your choice in how you want your flight to go, because one, that's a lot of money usually you're paying, and I'm not going to screw that up for you or I. Keep in mind, I have every extroverted bone in my body to desire to do that, but I will not. So that's the one thing that I will not break. But in regards to talking to strangers in really weird scenarios or awkward things, I will be the first one to break the silence, because I feel like it's more awkward to not talk. For example, I remember I went to a yoga class one time that the teacher apparently, so found this out after, but the teacher decided to quit the night before, but didn't let the gym owner or managers or whatever no. And so on the calendar, it looked normal. And so a bunch of us all showed up with our like little yoga mats and we're there and ready to have this class. And we're sitting there for like 10, 15 minutes and everyone's quiet because when you go to a yoga class, people are usually just chilling on their mats and not talking to one another. And so this room is absolutely silent and there's probably like 6, 7, 8 people in there. And after this 15-minute mark, pretty much I'm like, so does anybody want to like go with me and ask the front desk? Or I just wanted there to be like some knowledge in the room that I like, let's figure this out and what we want to do. And then even worse, I was like, I mean, I could teach the class, which I have no experience of teaching a yoga class whatsoever, but I did do dance all growing up and led many stretches and whatever. And so I could easily do it. And I've gone to many yoga classes and I'm extroverted enough where I'd be fine doing it. And then also I've always been told as well that I should teach a yoga class, which, like I said, never done it. It's maybe on the to-do list. And I have this kind of running joke that I keep manifesting things. So at this point, I feel like it's kind of inevitable, but we'll see. Anyway, so that's the weird one social rule that I talk to people a lot. So that's really what it is. So the next question that is from our favorite ChatGPT is, what is a hill I would die on even if no one agrees with me? Which, that one for me, for the last 10 years, I've quoted this, is mini M&Ms versus regular size M&Ms. And if you are listening to this and you think, yeah, duh, okay, all the people that I've brought this up to in my life, they always react the same. They're like, what are you talking about? No. Mini M&Ms taste superior to regular M&Ms. The shell to chocolate shell ratio is so much tastier, and I could sit and eat mini M&Ms for the rest of my life, but regular M&Ms, no. That's just a hill I will die on that I feel like a lot of people think I'm weird or crazy. However, I have come across a couple people in my life that agree, and they're like, yes. And so, love them. Big kiss on the mouth for them. And yeah, that's really it. All right, next question is, if you had to give a TED Talk with no prep, what's your topic? So, topic would probably be life hacks for me. I like to hack the crap out of my life in regards to making things simpler, making things more efficient, especially with having ADHD. I feel like I'm always just a hot mess 99% of the time. One of the biggest things for me that it has taken many years to come to terms with myself is that I really suck at any sort of routine, but especially with food. I know people that will eat the exact same, like, breakfast, lunch, whatever, every single day, and they love it. For me, that changes so frequently, and so I need to have, like, a span of multiple different options that are, like, reliable, not just like, oh yeah, I could have that in my pantry and pick that out randomly to have. No, like, these have to be, I know for a fact it will work. And so, for example, like, I hate eating cold food in the morning because I'm usually cold in the morning, and vice versa for the afternoon. Obviously, come winter time, that will change. But in the afternoon, it's really hot in Utah, so I'd rather have something cold. So it's weird, but I'd rather eat a quesadilla for breakfast right now. Cheese, quesadilla. And then I'd rather eat cold yogurt for lunch, which is, I feel like, flip-flopped. Anyway, life hacks, Haley RS. That's probably what I could TED Talk for a hot minute. That's just a small example, like, about food. And for other things in life, like with waking up, hashtag 4 a.m. Episode 1, Mic Check, Life Check podcast, plug. But yeah, so like that episode is full of like life hacks and how to hack out my gym routine, I guess. I don't know. All right, this next question makes me LOL. It says, what is something that you think Utah is low-key lying about? Well, without coming off too ex-Mormon-y here, the majority of people that act like saints and very good abiding Mormons, there's a lot of hidden sin and fakeness here. So just in general about that, I would say about how money is dispersed throughout the church regarding tithing and stuff. This is a lot of like Mormon talk, but that's something that I would imagine there's a lot of lies about, but that's not my business. But yeah, well, it's not my business, but it kind of has been in the past. So anyway. So the next one is, what trend are you embarrassed to say that you bought into and still do? So a TikTok trend that was started a couple of years ago was the fluffy brows, the way that girls would brush their eyebrows up with like a gel and they make them like super fluffy and they kind of stick up kind of weird looking. That was very trendy, and I will say that I don't always do that, and then also I don't have my eyebrows look like straight up, but then I'll still like fluff them up a tiny bit. So that's something that I kind of still do every now and then, but that's usually only when I'm getting ready for some event, and it's still not to the extreme of what the trend actually was. But I think it still can look nice when the brows are uniform. I don't know. Overall, I think the trend encouraged many people to actually look at their eyebrows, because I feel like a lot of people before the trend was bringing all this attention to eyebrows, that a lot of people just kind of ignored them and they just kind of laid on their face. But then like a lot of people were getting like taking care of them and like trimming them and stuff, and so they looked nice. So I think that trend was good for the general population, and I'm talking about mostly girls here, but you guys can have nice eyebrows too. But yeah, so that was definitely a trend that I did buy into, but I don't totally do to the extent, but definitely look at a little more with significance. So yeah. All right, this one's so easy. What is a gym behavior that icks you instantly? Okay, there is a gentleman, and there's many people that do this, but there is one gentleman in specific peculiar. I can identify him every single time. He hogs gym equipment by putting his AirPods on the seat of one machine, and then he puts his sweat towel on another machine, and then he puts his water bottle on another machine, and he'll do this for 4 machines, so he'll always be on one, and then the other 3 have reserves on them. And at 4:30 in the morning, you would think that there's not a lot of traffic for gym equipment and whatnot. But because of this guy, there is. And it pisses me off so much. I have wanted to say something so much. And keep in mind, this guy is a big guy. He looks like he takes steroids. Maybe he does. I don't know. Anyway, but he acts like the entire gym is his. And it's a public gym, right? It's not a private gym. So I'm like, can you not? Anyway, I many times have wanted to go to, like, not report him, pretty much go tattle and just like say, hi, can you tell this guy to stop? Because if he were to hear it from me, like, I don't have an issue with confrontation or anything, but if he were to hear it straight from me, he'd probably just look at me and be like, no, I'm doing it this way. Go away. Kind of thing. But I don't know. I mean, I've heard people in the past, there's signs, I'm pretty sure, like for the gym rules of like don't hog equipment or whatever, but I don't know. I just hate people like that. But yeah, it's an issue. Okay, so this next one is, if my life had a soundtrack, what song would play every time I walked into the gym? A lot of gym things. Which, honestly, 9 out of 10 times it is Sabrina Carpenter. It would be Taste by Sabrina Carpenter, because that's the opener for her concert, and every time I hear it, because I was lucky to go to enough to go to the concert, and so every time I hear that song, I just think about the concert and how fantastic it was, and it gives me like enough good vibes and like confidence, empowerment, like let's go, like hype for the gym. So that's anything really Sabrina Carpenter. Next question makes me laugh, but it says, what's one soft girl aesthetic habit that you have that's actually chaotic? So in terms of soft girl aesthetic, I feel like that's very light and just super sweet, innocent girl, which anyone that actually knows me, that's not very accurate. Like I said, I'm just pulling these ChatGPT questions. So, but I was making the joke because as I'm recording this podcast, I am wearing this, what I like to joke, called my monk robe. If you go stalk my Instagram, you can see it on one of the photo dumps, like on the first like 2 or 3 posts on Instagram. But basically it's my super cozy like wearable blanket with sleeves. It's like a Snuggie, but it wraps around my whole body, so it's like a monk robe pretty much. Anyway, so I was laughing because that's my soft girl aesthetic that is a little chaotic because I'm literally so soft and cozy in my blanket, and it's chaotic because I'm running around like this crackhead. If someone saw me outside on the road, they would probably call the cops. They'd think I'm a hobo or something. So, little chaotic soft girl for you. The next question is, what do most people misunderstand most about marriage? So obviously I can't speak to every marriage because that is not relevant to me. I can talk about my marriage. But I would say if I were to give just advice to anyone asking, oh my gosh, what it's like to be married, or what's your best marriage advice, which if you listen to the last podcast, I talked 1.5 years about this. So if you're listening to that, sorry, just communication, just over communicating the crap out of every detail of conversation when it comes to things that are important to communicate about. Like, obviously, if you're just hanging out with your significant other and you're talking about whatever, you don't need to over communicate then, because then you'll probably just sound annoying. But in regards to try to get a point across, or something that needs to be done, or something that bothered you, over communicating the crap way too much, where it sounds like you're talking to a toddler pretty much, and you have to explain yourself in 5 different ways. I have found that to be very beneficial for communicating with your significant other, because sometimes they hear you say it one way and they completely take it a different way, obviously. And so if you can say it in multiple different ways, all pointing to the same area of the point that you're trying to get across, sometimes that will help them understand a little bit more where you're coming from. So that is just the best advice I can give. Just over communicate, even when it feels unnecessary, because it prevents a lot of arguments and makes the other person understand that you are human and why you are feeling that way, versus just stating something that they could take 5 different ways. The next one is, what advice would you give your pre-podcast self? So I was actually talking about this before I started recording, but I basically was saying, because I was talking to Twitch people, love you lots, Twitch. Anyway, I was saying that it was funny because I hadn't been on Twitch for many months, but I am on Twitch now and haven't been obviously for a long time, but I feel supremely better and I guess more confident with streaming, content creating, podcasting. Obviously I wasn't podcasting then, but just overall, because now while podcasting, it's something that I'm supremely confident / happy and excited to do, versus before when I was content creating, I didn't really have as much of a passion behind it. So I would say the stereotype of do what you love, do what makes you happy, whatever, follow your passions and dreams, like don't let work be work, but let it be something that you truly love. That's just the bottom line of it. That's something I would tell my pre-podcast self is, hey, go start that podcast. I don't know, because I'm having a lot of fun with that. So that's the easy short answer for that. So the next one is, you can ban one Instagram caption forever. What is it? Without a doubt, we've been hiding a secret. We've been having a little secret with announcing a pregnancy announcement. I can't remember. I might be a hypocrite, to be honest. Maybe we used that. I don't think we did, though. I think I said, because we announced around Christmas time, so I think it was like something special. I have to go look now. All right, so I went and looked. My announcement was not, in fact, oh, we've been hiding a little secret. No, mine was I spy with my little eye, because I said I spy with my little eye, baby Jensen, spring 2024 or whatever. So I did that because we took a picture of the ultrasound in like on the Christmas tree, and then there was a bunch of diapers underneath like as presents. And so I thought that was pretty creative. But anyway, that was my not so I don't know, maybe I'd seen someone do I Spy, but I honestly don't recollect people seeing someone doing that. So I'm sure it's out there, and I'm sure I saw it once in my life, but as far as I know, I was minorly original. So as for creativity, there you go. But yes, I would definitely ban the we've been hiding a little secret. All right, so the next one is, what is the most niche red flag you've ever seen in the wild? So I can't really speak on oddly specific things. I will just comment on one that I've always noticed, which is just anytime a person is overly defensive on their opinion, no matter if they're right or wrong. Like if they're right about whatever the comment or topic is, then they'll just keep going on about it, how they're right. But if they're wrong, like, then they're always just justifying themselves, which I guess is just basically a narcissist in a way. But yeah, it's something that I would always clock a mile away with dating or whatever. And it's just the most unflattering thing, I'd say. I feel like, with that being said, I'll take accountability if I've ever done that, but I am sure that I have. But I am confident that with growing and maturing that I've noticed it more. And I think there's also like a bit of a humble pride of being able to identify that as well. And in those moments of even when I'm wrong, like especially with talking with my husband, that if I'm definitely in the wrong about something, I'll be like, oh yeah, like, thanks for explaining it, blah, blah, blah. Like, I won't say I'll do it 100% of the time because no one's perfect, but I definitely try to, so. All right, so the next question is, what makes you irrationally defensive? That would be K-pop demon hunters right now. For example, assuming this gets back to my brother one day, I've been telling him to watch this movie for a couple of weeks now, and he is not an anime guy. He is not a cartoon movie guy. He is, yeah. Anyway, so I sent him the trailer, and he's like, yeah, not my cup of tea. And I even told him this, like, after that initial time, like, days later, and I said, you have to watch this. I have watched it 4 nights in a row, and I am not a repeat movie watcher like that in any regards. And, like, this movie's, like, amazing. The soundtrack's amazing. And he's a soundtrack guy. He likes music, like, from the most obscure walks of life, just not anime or K-pop or whatever. And so it infuriated me. And so I think, like, it must have been a week or 2 later, I texted him and I said, hey, because I sent him a TikTok about K-pop demon hunters, because he like adamantly refuses to watch it. It's kind of weird. Anyway, but I sent him a text and I said, hey, and I sent him the TikTok and I said, if you haven't heard enough from me, and you are, I guess, inspired to watch it eventually because of other friends pressuring him, let me know when you watch it. I said something along the lines of that. And he's like, okay, haha. And he sent, okay, ... haha, or something like that. So I'm thinking that he's getting pressured enough, and I anxiously await to hear his review of it, which I'm sure he'll still be probably a little snooty and be like, oh, well, yeah, it's not really my cup of tea, but the music was pretty good. I hate people like that. Anyway, so that makes me irrationally defensive when people can't admit that something that's good is good because they're, like, too on their high horse for it. That's all. Okay, the next one is, what is my most random hyperfixation right now? I would say it's kind of weird, but creatine? I have noticed a 180 difference in my life when it comes to sleep. And I am a tired mom. And so I don't sleep super well. When I sleep, I crash. And usually when I crash, I don't feel like I slept because the sleeping part of the night goes so fast. I feel like I can't even enjoy the sleeping, the resting part, because my head hits the pillow and then I wake back up and I feel like I'm still tired. Anyway, I started taking creatine, and that is one of the wonderful side effects of creatine, that it helps improve your sleep. And oh yeah, it does. I feel like the REM cycles that I go through are so much more significant and impact my body and soul, because I will wake up like 2 hours later after I go to bed, look at the clock and see that it was only, because keep in mind, I'm psychotic. If you listen, once again, 4 a.m. podcast, I go to bed at 8 p.m. So in this scenario, I look at the clock and it's 10 or 10:30 and I'm like, and it feels like I slept an entire night of restful sleep, but I wake up and I see the clock and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could keep sleeping. It feels like sleeping. So that, my friends, is my most random hyperfixation that I am very passionate about right now. And I don't know, maybe it's not even a hyperfixation, because I plan on keeping with this for a very long time. And it's funny, I made a TikTok about it, about creatine, because Walmart carries it, and it's something I think relatively new, because my husband's been taking creatine for a while. He reports that it doesn't affect his sleep like it affects mine, so obviously to each their own. But when he had been buying it in the past, I was pregnant or breastfeeding, which there wasn't enough research, but anyway, so I wasn't taking it, but I am, because I'm free from such restraints. And so I happened to see at Walmart that they had like really cheap and then like almost double the amount that other brands give you. And so anyway, I was really happy about that, because your girl likes a good deal. But anyway, I began taking it, and I will be continuing to take it, because I remember, okay, I kid you not, and I know it is the creatine, because I skipped / forgot to take / drink my creatine one day, and that one night I had the worst sleep of my life. So I am a avid believer that it does make a difference. So yeah, that's it. So this next question makes me kind of confused, because it says, what makes you go, okay, she's self-aware in a good way? So when I'm reading it, I'm thinking that this is supposed to be something that I'm self-conscious about, but I'm aware of it, and that's a good thing. I think. So in terms of that, I don't know, maybe not self-conscious, that I'm just self-aware, and like claps that she's self-aware. Once again, my sleep, I make a very big deal about getting 8 hours. I plan my life around it, but keep in mind, I still will go to events if needs be and stuff, but I will most definitely, probably that. Okay, I'll keep going with that. So basically, on the nights that I have a late night or whatever, I will not wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym, but I will still obviously make sure I'm getting my steps in at least the next day. And so that would be my self-aware, that I sacrifice the gym for my sleep, because I am a full-hearted believer that sleep is more important than the gym. But I obviously still get my steps in. So, yeah. Small claps for Haley, that I'm self-aware regarding my sleep / gymming, I guess. So there you go. As for the next one, we will see. It is, describe yourself in one sentence as if you're a chaotic Craigslist ad. Oh boy. I do not visit the Craigslist ads, but I look at Facebook Marketplace, but I don't think those are the same things at all. But I would imagine it would say something along the lines of, tread carefully, ADHD, unmedicated, probably will talk your ear off and want to be your best friend, and then ghost you when she's feeling introverted. So, next one is, if being delulu is the solulu, what is the thing you are the most delulu about? AKA, what am I the most delusional about? So, my thoughts are, I am not a star sign astrology major or fanatic, but I do believe that my astrology star sign for myself and my significant other and their compatibility, which they are compatible. We are both water signs. But I think there's something to say for that, as well as I have seen and gotten down a slight rabbit hole for even like my family members. And yeah, anyway, I believe that they are accurate, not in the way I'd say most people are, but here's my explanation for people that are not. I'm pretty minorly informed about it all. Like, if somebody were to walk up to me and say, this is my birthday, what's my star sign? Like, people that can pull it out of their back pocket, impressive. Like, that's harder than math for me. It's like, how do you memorize an entire date calendar with multiple star signs? Anyway, I digress. But I will say that I think there is truth to it. And the reason why I think so is that based on when you are born, you hit certain milestones. Like, if your birthday is always around a holiday or something depressing or yada, 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 every year on your birthday, it's going to be depressing. And like, that will shape your character over time of how you feel about things and yada, yada, and maybe the way you think and act. So that's my slight my delusion, even though I'm not well versed in it. So that's really what I just randomly thought of. So there you go. All right, I like this next one. It says, what's your Roman Empire that no one would expect? So I would say for me specifically would probably align with a lot of women, females, or girls. So obviously the joke that the Roman Empire, if you're not familiar with this con or trend or concept or whatever, on TikTok, I don't know who started it, but somebody asked, like, what do you, it was a trend that a bunch of women were interviewing, I think their husbands or significant others, saying, hey, sweetheart, how often would you say you think about the Roman Empire? And all these guys responded like, oh, probably once a week, probably like 2 or 3 times a month, where it's like any like female or whatever, like, yeah, we see significance about the Roman Empire, but we don't think about it that much. Like, that's thinking about like the life cycle of an ant, right? No, I don't think about that on the daily. But basically the response was that a lot of these guys were thinking about this ridiculously, like, frequently. Like, it was weird. Anyway, so that's the concept of what's your Roman Empire that no one would expect. So that's the joke. My Roman Empire / what I think a lot of females / girls, it changes throughout life. For example, when before I was married, my Roman Empire was, I need to make sure that my body, my hair, my weight, my everything is perfect for my wedding day. And that my entire life would lead up to that moment. You know how relaxing and freeing it is? The next, actually, after you leave the last part of your wedding day, you're free. You can do whatever you want. I mean, not saying you need to go gain weight or whatever, but like, you can eat that extra brownie or whatever, and you don't have to worry about it. Or not that, once again, this revolves around food or whatever. That was just an example. One for me is that I could color my hair. I could dye my hair. Not that I couldn't before, but I knew that I always wanted my hair to be natural for my wedding day, because those pictures are forever. But also because prior to that, and when I was under my parents' roof, my mom forbid me from dyeing my hair. But that's another story. Anyway, that was my Roman Empire before I was married, like throughout my childhood. Anytime my brain would wander to the pivot empiric point, even though it wasn't something in the past, it was something in the future, where I'd always like, okay, well, I gotta think about this, because on my wedding day, for example, I did not have my ears pierced all growing up. I got my ears pierced when I turned 20 years old. I think it was my 20th birthday. And which was kind of weird, because a lot of girls, they either get them when they're a baby or by the time they're like 10 or so, or even younger. And so for me, I had always said throughout growing up, I'm like, oh yeah, well, I guess I can always wear clip-ons if I want to wear earrings for my wedding day. Like, that was my big, okay, yeah, but I can do that. But then I started to get a little bit more girly in college. Not girly, but like, I wanted to wear earrings and stuff. And so I was like, oh, well, I guess I have a legit reason to now. And when I was 20, I was like, okay, this is a good time because I wasn't engaged at the time. And so I was like, yeah, like, let's get my ears pierced because then it's crossing it off the list and I'll be prepared for my wedding day because that's my Roman Empire, even though I was not engaged at the time. I was dating my husband at the time, though. Fun fact. I was like really early into dating my husband, so, and it ended up working out very well. But yeah, so that's my Roman Empire for before I was married. But then after I was married, it was for when I have a baby. And then after I had said baby, it was, oh, but if I'm done having kids, or, oh, well, I'm going to have kids again, which that lovely, famous Roman Empire of being a mother is getting rid of baby stuff, because if you have another one. Or my favorite, which I've been cleaning recently, so this is a very fresh on the topic of my brain, but I've been cleaning out a bunch of stuff that no longer fit me. They fit my college body or high school body, and I have my lovely mom body with my birthing hips. But anyway, there's a lot of stuff that are in really good condition and like high quality, good brands, whatever. And I don't want to get rid of them because they cost a lot of money or they're very good pieces. And so my brain, I'm like, well, if I have a daughter, so that's now my new Roman Empire. If I have another child and if it is a female, because then at that point I can be satisfied, because if it's a boy, which I'd beyond be happy to have another boy. I love my child so much currently and would not mind having another boy. I think it'd be so fun. But once I do, and if I do, then that crosses off the list and I can get rid of those dang clothes. Because I would want to, aka, gift them down to my daughter if she wanted them. It's funny because like thinking about it, and because my own mom, she didn't really have a ton of stuff that she tried to pass down on me, but she definitely had stuff that she tried to pass down for my older sister. But the funny thing is, so those clothes were definitely a little dated, obviously, and tacky, because me and my older sister have quite the age gap. So that's my only concern, is that I will hold on to these clothes. And if I were to have a daughter, and then let's say it'd probably be about 15 years from now, that those clothes could be very, as the millennials say, chuggy, or Gen Z, old Gen Z says chuggy, right? I don't know. Tacky, that it would be a waste of my time to hold on to these clothes anyway. And that's okay. But I mean, the funny thing is with all the trend cycles in general, there is also a chance that the styles will then be retro and people will want them and it'll be worth it. And people will be like, oh my gosh, I wish my parents held on to my stuff, blah, 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 blah. Which, like I said, a lot of the stuff is just like athleisure. But for example, I have a pair of extra small Nike Pros, which are cycled back and are very trendy right now. So do they fit me? No. If I had a daughter, they would fit her. But I do not. So maybe one day, though. All right, this next one's funny. So it says, what little treat do you justify way too often eating? I have made TikToks on both of these. One, eating a couple chocolate chips out of the little container in the pantry. At night, I have to have a sweet treat, like a little tiny thing after dinner right before bed. It's just like the little dopamine hit. Like, I do not vape or any sort of things, but if I did, that's like my equivalent to it. That, and then I've made so many Outshine popsicle TikToks. It's just an ongoing joke. I've made day 1, day 2 eating a popsicle. I didn't do that today. Maybe I'll still do it. I'll probably do it after I'm done with the podcast, and I'll make the joke, like, definitely not during his nap time, but overnight sleeping. This is me eating a popsicle during my toddler's overnight sleep functions because I'm awake and I want a popsicle. I don't know. It's just been an ongoing joke for myself because there's so many like day 1, day 2 trends, and that one I'm just like, I just want to have a popsicle and I'm gonna talk about it. every single day. So super random, but that's what I've been doing, and that's something I do, I'd say, way too often, but I'm not justifying it. This question makes me LOL. It basically just says, what is my current delusion that I'm committed to, like a lifestyle? That would be podcasting and content creating. I've been having fun with it though, so that's my current delusion, but it's a hobby too, so I'm happy with it. Next question is, what phrase makes you physically cringe every time you hear it? That would definitely be the labubu's, the lafufus and the labubu's. When my husband and I went to San Diego, we went to, I don't remember what the name of the mall is, but it was a very popular mall. And we went there and we were walking around going to some of our favorite stores. And there was this ginormous line of people waiting to get into this random, like, anime looking shop, but not super anime. It just looked like a very trendy, one-stop, not fashion, but trend looking stuff. Definitely not a store I would walk into probably if it wasn't busy. But anyway, there's this massive line for it. And I was trying to figure it out. And then I was like, wait, no, because I had seen a TikTok about the name of and I don't remember what the name of it is right now, but that day or like the day before I had seen that's where these Labubus were going to be available to buy. And that's what they were all in line for, which is just insane. They look like little satanic bunnies. So that's to answer, that's not a phrase that makes me physically cringe, but I guess the name of it, Labubus, because all I can think of is just how weird that is. I think, yeah, for example, I remember seeing a TikTok just barely as well that there was like a paparazzi that caught Khloe Kardashian going somewhere, and then when she left that place, because before she didn't have a Labubu on her purse, but then she did when she left, and so people were making the joke like, oh, someone told her about Labubus, aka she had to be on trend ASAP kind of thing. And I wouldn't doubt it, but like, it's so weird to me. Like, Tamagotchis have a point, it's like a game, right? Labubu, they're just creepy thing. Yeah, anyway, Labubus are weird to me. But anyway, I do enjoy I have the only gold Labubu, or the way she says it. It's a TikTok video, but I thought it was funny. So the next question just reminded me of something that happened to me like yesterday. So the next question was, let's see, what are you currently gatekeeping and why? So this is a very true story. Yesterday I was stroller walking with my dogs and toddler, and I was passing just a girl that was walking into her house on the street, and she had a Bagoo bag, and it was a bright pastel bluish color, and come to find out that the colors, I don't know if this is actually what the color's called, but it's called French blue on this one website. Anyway, and so I said to her, because like I said earlier, I talk to everyone on the street and strangers all the time, and I said, oh my gosh, I love your bag. Is that a Bagoo bag? And she's like, yeah, like I love it, da, 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 da. And I was like, oh, cool. And like I didn't actually stop and talk to her for very long. I just said that and kept walking kind of thing. And so then I went and Googled Bagoo bags, and I clicked on the first top link, and I looked and found the one that she had, and it was like on sale, like clearance for $10 compared to the original like $56 or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a miracle. Today is my lucky day. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go place this order. And so I started viciously like looking to add this to cart ASAP, because you never know, they could sell it like immediately. And so I start doing that, and then I look on the website, and I'm like, oh my gosh, even the black color's on sale. Like normally that's a standard color palette. Like they're not going to put that on clearance. And so I'm freaking out. And so I at this point was walking to the park to go hang out with some mom friends to let our kids out around or whatever. And so I get to the park, and I'm like glued to my phone because I'm trying to buy a bunch of like clearance bags that I thought, yeah. I get to the checkouts screen, and I put my card on, and my card declines. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, what's going on? And so then I change, and I try a different card, and it declines. And I'm like, what is going on? And then the mom I was sitting next to, because I was talking to her about this, she had said, like, when we were looking at some of the bags, because keep in mind, I was not gatekeeping. I was showing her and saying, oh my gosh, look at these. And she said, oh my gosh, I might have you buy one for me. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, bet. Like, totally. Because she didn't want to pay shipping fee or whatever. She only wanted one thing. And I was going to get us over the shipping fee anyway. And so I'm trying to buy it and it keeps declining. I'm like, what the heck? And when we were looking around, though, it said, oh, but these are like legit, right? They're not like a scam or anything. And I'm like, yeah, no, like this is the website. But then I looked a little closer and the website URL was spelled incorrectly. So it was indeed a scam. And although I was definitely not gatekeeping from my mom friend that was sitting next to me, I would have gatekeeped it from the rest of the world because I wanted to get these clearanced Bagu bags that were definitely not clearance and definitely not real. And yeah, so that was a bummer. I really wanted one. And I think they're like $60 or something. But anyway, RIP black crescent bag, medium crescent bag. Because I wanted that one and then I wanted the pastel blue one too. But that was because I thought they were both going to be like $10 each. So anyway, that was a bummer. But don't get scammed, kids. All right. So next question is, if you could create a new social norm, what would it be? I would make everyone practice insane bits of OCD tendencies, aka like mega washing your hands. For example, I hear the horror stories of men's bathrooms from my husband, and it sounds absolutely disgusting. I feel so bad, and every time he tells me like an example of one, I'm like, I'm so sorry that you were a guy and that you have to deal with that. Like, because he's a very hygienic man. Like, I would say, he takes very good cleanliness wise of himself, and so just when I hear the nasty, disgusting bathroom things, yeah. Anyway, I would create that as a social norm that everyone has to be like overly hygienic. That would be a good thing, which I know in some countries that's the norm. For example, that you can like walk around barefoot or something in like certain countries and your feet don't even get dirty because everyone's so clean or something like that. I think that's legit. I'd love that. Okay, well, I was reading some questions. I didn't exactly find the start of this question because there wasn't a word-for-word question for it, but it basically happened a couple weeks ago, but this woman reached out to me and called me out of nowhere, and I hadn't talked to her for weeks. And we're not friends, really. We hung out like one time, just circumstantially, because we both have kids and we're moms and whatever. And she started like talking about her like side hobbies being a business that her and her husband are having in their endeavors for, what, I don't know. Anyway, I smelled it from a mile away that like it's an MLM or like some sort of mentor program. So yada yada yada. Anyway, so that was the first time I hung out with her. So anyway, she called me weeks later and she's like, "Hey, I just wanted to catch up," blah blah blah, talking about stuff. And then she starts doing the verbatim again for it and saying like, "Yeah, have you ever wanted to like have a business or whatever?" And I'm like, "Girl, oh my gosh. Please, no." And that's the funny thing, is that Utah is so known for MLMs in general. But what was the most offensive part about it all was that, like, I'm very happy with where I am in life, I'd say. And, like financially, I'm not in financial ruin. I'm pretty happy. And so the funny thing is, though, is I know that I don't know, maybe she's doing just as well, but based on what I know, that's probably not the case. And I'm not saying I'm better than her or anything. I just was kind of given the position that I understand where she's at in life and whatnot with her and her family and whatnot. Anyway, she was coming after me and like, if she's trying to get me to join this MLM thing and by the questions she was asking, she's like, yeah, like it's so nice to be able to raise your own kids and have your financial freedom and stuff. And I'm like, girl, you are barking up the wrong tree. Like, and the really sad thing is with all these MLMs, they usually do prey on like the most weak-minded, insecure individuals. And so it's so funny and ironic to me that of all people, like, I don't know, maybe I don't come off as confident as I feel internally, I'd say, but I feel like I do to most people, at least from what I've heard. But yeah, this chick was going off about, she was trying to get to her pitch of, oh yeah, like, because she had said that, oh yeah, we have some friends that have kind of really kind of helped us along the way, and without saying mentors or whatever, but I've heard that before. Anyway, but the thing that killed me the most was that she called me on my phone, not texted me, whatever, not tried to meet up in person at first, but she called me to talk about random crap, just random life stuff. And then she like segued the conversation towards it. And this was right before bed too. And like right after dinner. And I'm like, why are you calling me? It is the worst tactic that I'd ever seen. And I'm like, this makes me physically uncomfortable, and not a lot of things do. So anyway, I don't know. I was just reading some of these questions. A lot of them were just like, what's an ick that you have that's extremely personal and makes no sense to anyone but you? Which I would say that probably makes sense to a lot of people. But I guess just the way that it was gone about, because for me, I'm like, out of the two of us, I'm doing pretty all right, as well as I am a lot more like confident and secure versus insecure than I feel like you are. So that was a big old LOL moment, and I'll keep you updated. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. I feel like it's going to, but not my cup of tea for sure. So you never know. Not trying to be part of an MLM anytime soon, but we'll see. No. But yeah, I'll keep you updated though on that. All right, this question's funny. It is, what is a chaotic outfit or style choice that you fully believed in at the time? So for me, I really enjoy Christmas time, and I love the buffalo check, like red and black pattern. However, at the same time, the past couple of years / I'd say decade have been very just neutral tones and vibes for myself. And so I turn into a chaotic styled mess because like I want to wear the obnoxious Christmas sweaters and the red buffalo check plaid, and I sometimes will, but they make me so uncomfortable to do it because it's so out of my comfort zone. But then also I want to be a part of it and wear it and be ostentatiously Christmassy. And so I'm looking at, because I have like 2 or 3 different buffalo check print, whatever, sweater / overcoat looking sweater thing and flannels, and they do not get worn a lot, and they make me like physically uncomfortable looking at them because I'm like, I never wear that, but I wish I did more. And I wish that I hope the trends, maybe they will this year. Maybe I'll start something, and everyone needs to run around and be Christmassy out the wazoo or whatever, because we need some Christmas up in here. I don't know. It sounds like a good idea to me. So this is not a ChatGPT question, but a TikTok trend that I keep seeing multiple times all over TikTok, which is the turning myself into a 10, which people are using wherever they live, whether that's turning themselves into a Chicago 10 or a Utah 10, whatever. And they're talking about rating themselves at a scale of 1 to 10. So basically it's girls that haven't done their makeup, and then they do their makeup and then do like a glamorous, like glam shot pretty much. And the funny thing is reading all the comments of people saying, because you have different types, you have like pretty much 2 different types of people doing this trend. Girls that know they're hot and they like put in the maximum effort and they declare themselves a 10, or no, sorry, no, they know they're hot and they put themselves as like a 6, even though they confidently could tell themselves that, and everyone knows that they're a 10 or whatever, or they say I'm a 4 or whatever. Okay, sorry, I digress. 3 different types. So you have that person, you have a average person that's rating them probably accurate and saying like I'm probably like a 6 or something like that, and then you have like these people that don't look good but they are declaring themselves as a 10. So funny to read the comments on the 3 different types. With Utah being in Utah, chronically Utah, a lot of people, obviously you're getting all walks of life, but a lot of the girls are pretty and they try really hard, but I am neither of the very common denominator of fake blonde, spray tan, blue eyes. I got hazel and brunette hair. So that takes me out of the running. So that would make me probably like a 7 if I tried really hard, which I'm not makeup. So yeah. Anyway, I prefer coziness over everything. That, and I'm happily married. But it's funny to watch and read the comments though, because on the 3 different tiers of it, like the girls that are proclaiming themselves as a 10 or whatever, and they're really not. People are like, yeah, sure. Good for you, sweetie. You're doing great. Like stuff like that. Anyway, RIP. Anyway, it's been very entertaining to read, and I enjoy living in Utah as a brunette. It is my pride and joy. With that being said, my husband and I always talk all the time, like if we were to move somewhere, one, we'd probably move somewhere that has a better, like, all year round weather. I don't know. People used to say always with Utah, it's just like you get the 4 seasons, which you do, but these days it feels a lot hotter than it used to, and I do, once again, I blame global warming for that full-heartedly. It snows less and less every year, but that, I just love the aesthetic style and wardrobe of the cooler climates, yada yada, snow. Maybe I'll move to Canada, or whatever. But it's just so highly competitive in Utah, and it's just not worth it. Not the stress. Like, not that that's a huge concern of mine, once again, because I'm happily married and not in that competitive dating scene. But overall, I think the trend is hilarious, and the comment section even more so. So a very thought-provoking question being the pressure to pivot and constantly rebrand in relationships, hobbies, aesthetics. So I'd say with personally, like my own goals and adventures, yes, with ADHD, I get bored of things very quickly. But if I'm happy and content in something, like I will happily stick with it. For example, like walking daily, if I had the time and hours in the day to do yoga, I'm sure I would do yoga every single day if I could, stuff like that. But when it comes to like corporations and marketing, for example, and rebranding, but the news, if you've seen it, Sydney Sweeney campaign for her jeans through American Eagle or whatever, that I don't know. People have so many different takes on it, whether or not it's a PR stunt, whether it was intentional, whether that it crashed and was not the intention. So basically, if you're not familiar with it, American Eagle had Sydney Sweeney promote their jeans line or whatever, and it was done in the weirdest way that she was like being very sensual with the way that she was talking, and all for the fact that she's marketing denim jeans, which is weird. But then there was like 3 different other tiers of what she was really insinuating, that it was slightly pointing to Nazi mentality of the perfect genome of blonde blue eyes. Yeah, it was weird. My husband was talking about it with me, and he brought that part up, and I was like, what are you talking about? Because I had never seen that bit like in the news, or I guess the gossip chains. But then he was saying that there's multiple people talking about that aspect, and yeah, so super bizarre. But then, yeah, overall, just the fact that these are literal like jeans and denim, but she's just overall being canceled for it once again. And I'm pretty sure American Eagle wiped the campaign off of their pages, but I think my husband was saying that their stock went up because they're having so much success, even though it's all through hate/cancel culture ability. I don't know. Super bizarre things, but point being overall is I think it's absolutely ridiculous how just something as mundane as jeans and selling jeans has turned into this huge conversation topic. And just, I mean, I don't know, to each their own. I won't blame Sydney Sweeney's choices and what projects she chooses to pursue, but yeah, it was a very weird commercial to film and concept. Yeah. Anyway, as for me in my own life, when it comes to rebranding, I've rebranded myself like 3 times now, but currently really happy with where we are at. So that was pretty much today's random topics and questions, and I hope that was minorly as entertaining as it was for me. I think there's a lot of good things that we haven't talked about before, so it's kind of fun. I'm sure we'll have an actual topic that we'll talk about next time, and hopefully y'all will be here for that. But if not, feel free to check in on Mic Check Life Check podcast with yours truly. Anytime, feel free to DM if you want something to be talked about. We can maybe throw it in there. And yeah, that's about it. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye.